Facebook Live, and welcome. My name is Kellie Davis, and I'm running for the Oceanside City Council, District 3. And this is our series called Housing, Health, and What's on the Ballot. So thank you for joining us, Facebook. And first and foremost, let me say right on the top of show, as we call it in the biz, this is not an endorsement. This is not an endorsement. I have the pleasure and the delight of welcoming Tina Fitzgerald of Communitea Yoga. Yes, they are located right here in District 3 on Vista Way. And I wanted her to come on the show and talk a little bit about her business in the midst of COVID-19, all the health benefits of yoga, and just enlighten you about what's going on in our community. I'll tell you what a perfect setup is. You can go in the morning to Communitea Yoga, then you can go and get a sandwich over at the Cream of the Crop, and then just head straight down to the beach and completely enjoy your day, because you would have meditated, you would have said this is a beautiful day. And in that line, I want to welcome the amazing Tina Fitzgerald of Communitea Yoga. How you doing, Tina?
Good. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to sit down and talk with you today. I appreciate it.
Well, I am really excited to have you on, and I am a firm believer, as our campaign is a believer, in supporting our local business. And so let's just jump right into it. Tina, what do you do? How are you doing it during COVID-19? And tell us a little bit about how you got involved in yoga.
Okay. So this is Communitea Yoga. I'm talking to you from the center. We are located in South Oceanside, a stone's throw from Cream of the Crop, literally. And how did I get into yoga? Well, I was in corporate America, and I was playing that game for 29 years. And I had always been very interested in physical health, in mental health, in spirituality, and in meditation ever since I was a little girl, just kind of brought up that way. And I found that when I went into the business world, it was all about the almighty dollar. That was the only thing that mattered. And I ended up getting really burnt out. Like, it's the story of so many business professionals. And I was really, I was doing really well. I was making tons of money. And we had a giant, mansion in Florida, and my kids were in private schools. And you come to that point in life, and you're like, yeah, but what am I really doing for the world? What am I really doing for society? And although I'm by nature a very positive person, I found myself getting more and more negative. And I worked for a very big, one of the biggest chains, and I was a fresh commodities buyer. So I worked in purchasing. And I just said, there has to be more to life. There has to be more to life than, making money for me, making money for, the franchisees. And I'm a firm believer in business. I'm a firm believer in capitalism. I'm a firm believer in freedom, but I'm also a firm believer in social responsibility. So I kind of shifted my priorities at that time to social responsibility, and bringing that awareness of being a better steward of the environment. And I found myself working on human trafficking, and I was like, oh my God, like how, I didn't even know it was a thing then. This was in the early 2000s, and I was like, this is a thing, like this is still happening in the world. There's still slavery. I at first just couldn't believe it, right? At first we just go into denial that this can't not be happening in modern day. And then as we investigated and worked more with ICE, I found myself, yeah, this is actually a thing. So we put things into place, and then, long story short, I've always had that in my awareness, and always been a champion for eradicating that on the planet. It's a global situation. Anyway, so that high profile life, the flying all over the world, I got addicted to caffeine. I got addicted to, alcohol to try to, counter the effects of the caffeine. I got addicted to sleeping pills because I was always in a different time zone, and it just wreaked havoc with my nervous system. And I was getting more and more and more unhealthy. And I'm in my mid 40s by now, and my body just started breaking down. I had a Pluto transit, which that helps. Doesn't help. So my body started breaking down. And I literally turned into like this 90-year-old woman where I could not move. I couldn't get from my bed to the shower without having to go back to bed. I had a tremendous amount of anxiety, and I didn't know what was happening. So I decided to leave that career. I literally had to anyway. The universe kind of said, here, shift. Kind of what's happening right now with COVID. The universe is telling everybody, shift. Your priorities are wrong. And so reluctantly, I made the shift. I went into a lot of fear. And then there's a lot of fear right now with people like, oh, how am I going to make money? How am I going to survive? Where am I going to go? So all of that stuff was hitting then, and I had to really deal with that. And it helped me deal with what everyone's dealing with today, because you can deal with something kicking and screaming and fighting against the flow, or you can choose your own reality and choose to surrender and accept what is happening, and move your life that way. So kicking and screaming, I left that, and I said to myself, where in the world, because I could go anywhere in the world. I could move anywhere in the world. I could stay where I was. I said, where in the world did I feel the best in my life? And it was Italy and San Diego, Carlsbad, California, when I was at the Chopra Center. So I would go and do yoga retreats and stuff like that to kind of find my balance. And I felt really good at the Chopra Center, and we had the Chopra Center at that time. We don't have it anymore, unfortunately. And so I went to the Chopra Center and I checked in for like a month. I lived at La Costa, and I said, I'm just going to focus on my health. I'm just going to focus on getting better and do what I love to do. And that was yoga, and that was meditation, and that was tapping into my spirituality. And so that led me on this path of, more and more yoga. And eventually I did more yoga trainings. I taught at different yoga studios around, and decided I didn't really like the energy of any one studio. It didn't feel like home to me. So I built this studio in South Oceanside, and my mission at the first, it was just to help business professionals, because there's such a tremendous amount of anxiety, pressure. Everybody's reaching outside of themselves for something to make them feel better instead of looking within. There's really easy things you can do, like just breathing, that solves a myriad of problems, right? We're all taught to go to that pharmaceutical, or go to that martini, or whatever it is, or go to the food, or go to the shopping, you name it. So my mission has become to bring awareness and to help others so that they don't have to go down the path that I did with addiction and with your body breaking down. And I discovered that this type of Kundalini this type of yoga that we focus on here is more Kundalini yoga, which is amazing for rebuilding your nervous system and getting your nervous system stronger so that you can handle what's happening in life. Because life isn't going to go away, right? Life isn't going to get any easier. As a matter of fact, it's going to get harder, especially these next 3 months. It's going to get very hard according to the astrology. And it's how we are equipped to deal with it. And if you don't have a strong nervous center, if you don't have enough energy or chi or prana in your body, then you're going to crumble. And it's not to say yogis are perfect and they never crumble and they never freak out. We do. But it's the amount of time we spend in that energy, right? So I could hear news and freak out and then go, okay, that news just dropped my vibration, plummeted it down. I'm feeling very low. Well, what can I do to raise my vibration? And I have this list of tools that I give our students, and I post about it, and I have a breath series coming up, just easy tools that you can do to uplift your vibration. Because when we're low vibration, we attract a low vibration. When we're at a high vibration, we attract a high vibration. It's a basic law of attraction. And when we go into that low vibration, that victimhood, that poor me, that the world is terrible, we give everybody else around us permission to do the same. And then it's like, oh wow, I'm surrounded by a bunch of negative people. And it's this downward spiral. So my mission is to shift the spiral to get us to that higher vibration so that we can create the kind of world we want to create. And I love what you said in our interview. You're like, this system isn't working anymore. And what can we do? What can we do to change it? And a lot of people think, God, it's so bad. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. And you know, not everybody has to run for office to fix it. What you can do is simply elevate your vibration. Move your consciousness into focusing on what you want it to be like versus railing against what it's like. And those are kind of like the teachings that we do. We help people breathe, get in touch with their breath. We help them in meditation. We help them get back to their center and to know that it doesn't matter what's going on out there all the time. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can get the news, but then what's happening in your life right now? And for me, I'm super fortunate. I've had something to eat today. I had a roof over my head. I get to come in the studio and we have air conditioning. You know, those are like, the focus on gratitude is the quickest way to get you out of the poor me spiral, everything's bad. You just find one thing and then it'll lead to another and then it'll lead to another. And then you go, I'm okay right now, right here. I don't have to worry the president has COVID. I don't have to worry the governor might shut down businesses tomorrow. I'm okay right now, right here. Present moment awareness. And that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Oh, Tina, I want to thank you for that today, because there are so many people that are just up in arms, and for you to just bring it back to just a very, for people, it does sound like it's complex, but the simplicity of getting back into just your breath. And for those that are, and it's helpful for those who are not necessarily faith-based people, because faith-based people, they can turn to God, and they can turn to Allah, they can turn to a higher power greater than themselves. Something like yoga, it doesn't matter if you are agnostic, atheist, faith-based, it has to do with your own personal space, your own breath, your own opportunity to take a fearless inventory on where you are today and what you can do to see where you can go as a possible renewed mindset. So I want to thank you for breaking that down. And if you could, one of the things I was attracted about your studio is you have different price points. You had, because to the Facebook Live people, I had actually visited Community Yoga a number of months ago, and it was on my things to do list. And I really enjoyed that you had I don't know if you still offer it, but so why don't I kick it to you? What are some of the things you do offer, and how people can get involved with renewing their minds, renewing their bodies there?
Yeah, so we did have a lot more offerings than we do right now. But what I could say is nobody is ever turned away for lack of funds, ever. So if we give everybody their first class is $11, and we also give we do a lot of online that is for free. So if you go to the Instagram page, you can go to our IGTV and find any meditation and even a full yoga class with a meditation for free. You can find that on our Facebook page. You can find that on a YouTube channel, Kundalini TV. So we have free offerings. Before COVID, and then we're hoping to get this again, we would just have meditation where anybody could come in and just sit and meditate. Right now, we're offering your first class is $11, and we have discounted packages, discounted membership rates. We have a yogi tea for everybody. So there's, some people they would come into the front area and just say, it just feels good in here. I just want to hang out in here. Can I hang out in here? I'm like, yeah, here, have some tea. So the yogi tea is really healing for everybody. So we give everybody yogi tea. We have a lot of people that trade, like they will trade and say, hey, I'd like to work at the front desk for you and trade for yoga, because they just want the yoga and they can't afford the yoga. And I do stuff like some privates with people, groups of people for a discounted rate. Like if they're nervous, saying, I don't want to go into a yoga studio and sit by a stranger right now, but I want the yoga. Will you teach, like me and a couple of my friends, will you teach my whole family? So we offer that. We have a little boutique, and everything is priced. You can buy something from, like 90 cents all the way up to a couple $100. So you can always leave with something. Sometimes they want to leave with like a little piece of community. They're like, I want to buy this stone, or I want to, incense, and here's a $2 thing of incense, or they want a yoga mat and a bolster, or they want a big crystal. So it's really priced accordingly so that nobody feels left out. And I've had people write to me and say, look, I can't afford yoga, but I can mop your floor, because we believe there just has to be some sort of exchange, any exchange. I can dust the studio, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. Come in and you mop the floor and you can take a class. So we don't want to make it so that we're unapproachable, but we do want to give people the tools to empower themselves, that they feel better about themselves, so that they're not stuck and feeling that money is a big block to them. And I gave the example the other day in class where some people said, like, this COVID is like the worst time ever. And I have a group of people that are like, this COVID is the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. I got out of a job that I hated. How many people complained about their job before COVID? And now you don't have your job. Now you want that job that you complained about back. And they're like, and now I get to do yoga, and I get to focus on myself, and I get to think, what do I really, really want to do? What is it? And that's the key. That's the key to your dharma. That's the key to your life path. We tell people you can live your karma. That's fate. It's the hand I was dealt. I'm screwed. Or you can live your dharma. And the key to your dharma is, what is it that you love to do? What is it that gets you juiced? And I don't care. I used the example the other day. I have a guy that works for me. He went to Oceanside High, actually, so he might know some people. And he might know Venus. And he loves to tie-dye. He's an artist. Go in that direction. You never know. You could be the greatest tie-dyer in the world. You never know what it is. Don't just push it off and go, well, I really love to skateboard, but nothing's going to come of that, right? Go in the direction of what you love and keep moving in that direction, and that's the clue to your dharma path.
Thank you for that. Venus and we did a series last week about a vision for Oceanside entrepreneurship, and I guess that was 2 weeks ago, but our campaign is really dedicated to the visioning and the encouraging and supporting our people to the infinite space of possibility. So I want to thank you. And I said entrepreneurship and growth, and that we need to reimagine different revenue streams. I get a lot in the forums about how do we bring jobs. And for me, and I just said this in a questionnaire, it's not about creating jobs. It's more about creating new revenue streams for our households, and really think about that. I had a woman by the name of Jackie. Don't know Jackie. She came knocking on the door and she said, saw a beautiful eucalyptus tree in our backyard. And she says, I want to trim that for you. And can I then take the trimmings? Because she then takes it and sells it to florists and companies and such. And you know what? That is what Venus and I, our campaign, are talking about. It's, here we are in a time where I don't know anything about this woman. I don't know if she is employed or if she is at that space where she had to sit down and reimagine how to create work for herself and for us as a community to support. I didn't ask this woman for any money. Okay, once you get the money, then come back and give it to, no. this is what it means to support our local businesses. And a lot of people think it's this big, huge thing that you have to do. It is about paying that $11 to Communitea Yoga. It's about going to Cream of the Crop or Plot or to be able to stay safe with our social distancing, but also support our businesses. So I really do appreciate what you're saying about this could be a time of reimagining your life, and it could be glorious. And one of the things you mentioned about groups of people, I had an idea, this was years ago when I was going to some of the community, it was called Coffee with a Cop. I don't know if they're doing it anymore, but the idea of having law enforcement, and I really like the idea, and now it's in my head, Tina. Go to Communitea Yoga, you police officers, and take, in just you all, take a, see if you can get it in the budget there, and as a group do yoga, because it helps with distress. It helps bring things, you talk about your breathing, because a lot of these officers, they have a lot on their plate to protect and serve, and to also be able to navigate the current climate. I can't imagine, because I have a brother-in-law that's currently a local police officer in San Diego County. They're dealing with a lot. So your group classes, I'm sure they're set up. Can you just walk us through a class of new people who decided, I'm going to do a group class? How does that work?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, let me go back to your thing with the policemen, because it was early on, and for some reason the policemen were on the corner. I don't know why. I can't remember why, but they were dealing with something stressful, and I invited him, I gave him tea, and I said, this would be really good for you guys to do some yoga, or if you don't want to do yoga, just to meditate, and I offered that for them complimentary. I said, just come in. I know that there's a lot of stress. I'm from a family of first responders, mostly firefighters, but I also have cousins who are policemen, and I know there's a lot of stress, and I know they deal with a lot, and I know the majority of them are good people, and there's good people, there's bad people. We live in a polarity planet. There's good and there's bad, and that's the way it's always going to be, and it's where we focus. So if you reinstate that, I would offer group classes and meditation for them just as a donation for them, and their families go through a lot of stress too. So we used to worry. Well, my dad, he's going and fighting big fires. Is it going to get burned? Like he fell through a roof one time. So the families have a lot of stress too. Okay, so back to, what does a class look like? Well, the good news, at least it's for me, the good news is every class is different, which I love, as far as the Kundalini yoga or the Kundanyasa yoga. So the teacher really brings the energy of what she wants to the class, and there's thousands of different kriyas. A kriya, it's an exercise set and a meditation. Normally we like to start with a breath. And so I just say, anybody can breathe. That's why I just did this breath series called Pranic Power. Pranayama is the practice of breath work, because anybody could do it. You could be in a hospital bed and do a lot of this pranayama, right? So we're very shallow breathers. So normally we'll start a class with some sort of breath and body awareness. And then we'll get into some warm up and some movement. And then it'll be very different. Like I always tell people that, and they say, oh, I can't do yoga. I can't bend and stretch. I'm not flexible. And I go, it's not that kind of yoga. That was our tagline for a while. It's not that kind of yoga. You might be doing like, probably you're not old enough to remember Jack LaLanne, but I am. Jack LaLanne exercises. You might be doing this, right? And you're like, this is yoga? And yeah, and you might be doing this for like 5 minutes. And then you get into all of your stuff. Like, this is stupid. Why does she have me doing this? Oh my God, what am I gonna have for lunch, right? And your mind, it's to work with your mind. It really works with your mind. And then eventually, you go, my arms are getting tired. Oh geez, no, I think I'm gonna stop. Oh, they're doing it. Okay, and then all you can focus on is your arms. And then you start really coming into the present moment, because you're like, dang, my shoulder. Okay, now I'm in my body now. I'm in my body, and you get back in your body because we're out there. We're out in the future or we're in the past. This brings you right here to the present moment. So that's another tool, the movement, the breath, back to present moment, back to present moment, back to present moment. And that, believe it or not, is like a meditation, because the meditation brings you the present moment. Very rarely can somebody sit there and not have a thought. That's really hard, right? But if you get all this stuff out of you, then you have a shavasana, a lay down, you play some of these beautiful gongs, you play some crystal bowls. It's called the sound healing. And your body and your nervous system relax and they integrate all of that energy. And you go into this deep relaxation and then slowly bring you out of it. And then you're in a really meditative space because you're relaxed. And then you do a meditation. So the class can be like an hour and a half long. We have some that are shorter, but the meditation then is just going to wash it all away. Wash it all away, and then you notice you're completely uplifted. Your vibration is uplifted after the meditation. It might be a breath meditation. It might be a mantra meditation. It might be a silent meditation. We're very big on the sound current here. The power of sound, the power of the spoken word, because you create your reality not only with your thoughts and your intention, but with what you say. And when somebody comes in and goes, I'm too poor to do yoga, I'm poor, and I say, never utter those words again. Never, ever, 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 ever say, I'm poor, because you're reinforcing that in you. And then I work with them a little bit. And so the meditation might be like today, we did a self-blessing meditation where we're blessing ourselves. We're blessing ourselves, and the whole time we're blessing ourselves and giving ourselves self-love. Because if you can't bless yourself, you can't bless anybody else. And you could just bless yourself with light. You don't have to, just like you said, you don't have to say the God word or the guru word or whatever. You are you. You bless yourself. You're responsible for your own self, your own success, your own path, your own failure. It's all your reaction to life. And so that is kind of the way a class might flow. If it's a Kundalini class, if it's a sound healing class, you have a lot of different sound healing instruments, crystals, crystal bowls. You just do like a little breath, maybe a little warm up, just very light stretching, and then you lay out for an extended sound bath. Because the power of sound, we all know the power of sound from studies. The ancients knew it before there were scientific studies, but it actually has a cellular effect on your body and your brain. And you can get your brain into like the theta state, and you can get your nervous system into a relaxed state. So we're all in fight or flight all the time, we're all in fight or flight. We're not being chased by a tiger, but that's the mode we go into, I'm being attacked, I'm being chased by a tiger, but not really. And so to get out of that fight or flight and just to get grounded and to relax. And then after a while, you can train yourself to do that, on your own. So when you can't get to the yoga center, when you can't sit with a teacher, because of COVID, we have millions of yoga teachers online now, right? We have millions of meditations online. So you can go down the rabbit hole of whatever, conspiracy theory or hate crimes or whatever you want, or news, or you can go down the rabbit hole of what's the next best sound healing I can relax to? Hey, what's the next breath meditation I can look up? There's a myriad of things. I have people that are like, I'm taking Spanish classes now. It's all out there.
And that's the beautiful part about, and it's right here in our community. Community yoga is right here. And what I really appreciate, and we were going to have you on earlier in the week, but I am so thankful that we had you on today of all days to give a word of encouragement, to just explore the infinite possibilities of what could be to bring more peace in your space. We might not be able to think about doing it globally or maybe to your neighborhood, but just to your own personal space. So Tina, we're coming to a close. Where can they find you? Give the address. Could you give your website and your Instagram links again for us, please?
Yeah, okay, so I love what you said about you don't necessarily have to do it for the whole globe, but when you do it for yourself, when you find peace in yourself, you are doing it for the planet. You are doing it because you're affecting everybody around you, everybody in your aura. Okay, so we're at 609 Vista Way in Oceanside. We're in South Oceanside, a couple blocks from Coast Highway on the corner of Vista Way and Alvarado. And the website is www.communityyoga.com, and it's spelled T-E-A, not T-Y, because everybody gets yogi tea, which is super good for your immune system, very healthy. So community, spelled T-E-A, yoga, and that's the same as Instagram. It's at Community Yoga, and then we have some sample classes on a YouTube channel called Kundalini-TV. Kundalini-TV, and yeah, we would love to welcome new people. And if you have any questions, you can always direct message us. We're here, and we'll make ourselves available. And we're not locked into any one thing. If you have a good idea, let us know.
That is awesome. So this was Tina Fitzgerald of Community Yoga right there on Vista Way, giving us some wonderful, yummy information on how to move through this time of transition for some challenge and really explore the infinite possibilities of what could be. So Tina, thank you so much for joining us. And Facebook Live, this will be available later to go back. She led us through some basic exercises. I'm so excited that we had Tina on today. Thank you, you awesome yogi, you. Until next time, Facebook Live, thank you for joining us.
Bye.